What's going down? I'm Spring from Punkies Playhouse, and you are listening to Mawmster. Today, I want to talk to you about something that I get asked frequently by a lot of people, and that is how I got into the toy industry, and more importantly, how did I acquire the brands that I own. So, to start, I was a model for decades, an international traveling model, actually. And as my time neared, I got to a top level in that industry and just decided that it was no longer where I was needed, wanted, or required to be. So in 2020, May of 2020, the pandemic hit and we all went on lockdown. So I went to went really crazy into like collecting toys that I had. Now I've always had a passion for toys that I had as a kid, but the business side of me, I can never have just a hobby, right? Like I always have to turn everything I touch into a business, whether I want to or not. So I got to thinking, well, we still had Care Bears, we had Pound Puppies, Strawberry Shortcake, Rainbow Bright, all the 80s brands that I loved, and I'm sure a lot of you loved as a kid. So I realized that there were some brands missing that weren't in the market. So I was looking for Fluffy Dogs specifically because I love those cute dogs. They were amazing. And since then, in 1986, when Kenner released them, which later was bought by Hasbro, I realized that there was they weren't coming back and they weren't around. So I got the idea to see how I could acquire the rights to the name, or what some know as the trademark. So it took me 2 weeks because, Fluffy Dogs was owned by Disney, and Disney is litigious AF. So it took me a couple weeks to get the nerve, first of all, and do a lot of research before I decided to actually, move forward and try to acquire this. So I spoke with an attorney. I didn't tell him specifically what brand it was or what it was, but I had spoke with him and told him that, I was thinking of doing this. It hadn't been on the market in 30 years. Could I? And he said he didn't see any reason why, just to be mindful of copyrights from the previous one. So I was like, okay. So I finally go ahead and I, file for my trademark. And that is our time today. Come back tomorrow for part 2 of this, and I will tell you the rest. Thank you for joining me today. Till next time.